Hi everyone, Jodie C here, and in today's vlog we're going to be discussing soya. It's quite a broad topic and quite debatable, but in the end it's your decision what you choose to put into your body, and I hope that this video just inspires you to make the right choice. And just be aware of when you are making food choices for your health, what it entails, and sometimes it goes a little bit more than just what you read. So firstly, I do eat soya. I eat it in quite a variety of products, but what I try to do is always eat genetically modified free soya, so it's GMO free. And if you're not sure about GMO, it's very easy to Google and I'll give you quite a clear explanation. But genetically modified organism is when they take two specimens, the genes of two specimens, they put it together and create a new specimen, and the outcome is normally that this specimen is resistant to something. And that's why genetically modified processes are often used for crops and grains. Two of the very common grains are soya and corn. Now, what helps with farmers when they use genetically modified crops like soya and corn is that they are now resistant to herbicides and pesticides. Because if you had to spray a herbicide or a pesticide on any general plant, it will probably die. But if it's genetically modified to withstand these pesticides and herbicides, the weeds, the pests, the fungi that might attack the plant will die, but the plant itself won't. The problem here is that these plants that are genetically modified to withstand these pesticides and herbicides are able to actually absorb these toxins. It stays within the plant and in the seed, and it gets transferred to whatever else or whoever else eats it. So that's where the danger comes in. There's other aspects of genetically modifying food that goes into more detail, but those are one of the main concerns, is that the toxicity level and the poison level within these plants are quite high. Now, the crazy part is that 90% or over 90% of soya is genetically modified, and that's quite scary. Whether, products that state they are GMO-free are actually GMO-free, we actually don't know. But sometimes you just have a little bit of faith. You have to have a little bit of faith and make the best decision you can at the time. But now, this 90% of genetically modified soya, a huge percentage of that, another 90% of that, actually gets fed to cattle. And this cattle is used for producing meat, and it's used for producing dairy. Okay, so you kind of get the picture here. What happens is that these animals get fed huge quantities of soya or corn, and I mean vast amounts of this genetically modified grain. And it gets transferred into their system. And guess what? A large portion of the population eats meat and dairy that have been fed genetically modified soya and corn. So when you say, oh, well, I do not eat soya, especially not genetically modified soya, well, I have to tell you, you probably are. If you are eating meat and you don't know where those animals are getting their food from, trust me, it's going down the food chain all the way into your body, so just be aware of that, okay? The other concern that many people have about eating soya is the number of isoflavones contained in soya and how it affects the hormone levels in the body. Now, many believe that if you eat soya, your testosterone levels will decrease, your estrogen levels will increase, you'll have an increase in body fat, decrease in muscle mass. You probably would start to grow man boobs. You have a risk of ovarian and breast cancer, and there's quite a long list of other concerns. However, I have found a brilliant video by Dr. Michael Greger, and I've put the link below, and he very beautifully and very scientifically, but also simply explains that this is all very untrue and false. And in order to have any form of effect on your estrogen levels, you would have to consume a ridiculous amount of soya, something like 40 cups. But here's a funny fact. most of these problems, like let's say, hormone imbalances, cancers like breast cancer, ovarian cancer, infertility, excessive body fat, a lot of these problems are found in the Western world, in Western diets. And the biggest consumption in the Western diet is meat and dairy. So again, if you are concerned about estrogen levels, I'd rather go and address the consumption of dairy in your diet, where that dairy is coming from, as well as meat. And so if you are struggling with hormones, I'd first address that before, stating any claim about eating a soybean, really. And another very interesting thing that I found, and I've also put a video link below, is that beer contains a hell of a lot more phytoestrogen than soya. Okay, and that could explain why men who drink a lot of beer get man boobs, a little bump in man boobs. So that video is very interesting. So have a look down below about beer and estrogen levels, phytoestrogen levels, and how it affects the body. What most people don't realize is that many processed products actually contain soya, and these get hidden within the ingredients listed under very abstract names that we won't even recognize. Crazy thing is, one of the most popular supplement brands for weight loss or muscle gain, a huge portion of their products actually contain soya. And one of them is an actual classified as a nutritional shake, and it is said to be a meal replacement, low calories, high in protein. But if you turn it over, the second product listed in the ingredients is soya protein isolate. So if by any chance you're thinking, no, I don't eat soya, don't like the effects on my estrogen levels, I hate to tell you, you might be just consuming a huge quantity of it. So just turn it over, have a look. And not only that, but the product also contains large quantities of milk and whey, which obviously also has an effect on your estrogen levels and your hormone levels. And it also contains aspartame, which is a sweetener. And this is a sweetener that is genetically modified from bacteria. How interesting is that? I didn't even know that myself. So, yes, just be very aware of what you are sold and what you're actually eating. Now, on the topic of soya protein isolate, this is one form of soya I'll try avoid at all costs. In the past, I have used it, mainly because I was very unaware of what the process it goes through to get to that form. And it's quite scary, and this process is called the Hexane method. Now, I've got some information here from a great website called the plenteousveg.com. So go there if you want some more information on the topic. But otherwise, I'm just going to read a short little extraction from there. It very clearly explains the process and gives you an understanding why you should try avoid this at all costs. Now, hexane extraction. The soybean gets soaked in a bath called a hexane bath. And the hexane causes the fats to separate from the bean itself. The same process is often used for extracting seeds. And a great example is canola oil, which is a genetically modified plant. Next, the defatted soya is soaked in ethanol or acidic water to help remove carbohydrates and flavor compounds. The result is a substance of about 90+% protein and can be added to foods to boost the protein content. Hence why it's often used in the majority of supplements. And this is like muscle builders, diet shakes, any form of whey product. You'll often, if you turn it over, you'll often see that the second or third ingredients listed is soya protein isolate. Okay. So not all isolated protein is made with the hexane method. There are other methods used. But because this is such a cheap and quick method of extracting soya protein, it is the most common one. Now, what is hexane? Hexane is a petroleum byproduct of gasoline refining. I'll read it again. Hexane is a petroleum byproduct of gasoline refining. Because it has a boiling point of 50 or 70 degrees Fahrenheit, It is easily evaporated as a solvent. And in addition to extracting oils from, let's say, soybean, hexane is also used as a cleaning agent, as a degreaser. So that means it takes away grease. And it's also used as a solvent for glues, inks, and varnishes. So that explains the hexane method for extraction of soya protein isolate. So please turn over your products that you're using, check what's at the back, and be very aware of the different ingredients and how they are listed. And that's the topic of soya. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it opened and broadened your mind a little bit more about eating soya. I hope it helped debunk certain claims that have put you in doubt about this consumption of soya. In the end, you always have to make the best decision for yourself. Always do your research. Obviously, on the internet, you always find pros and cons to any subject. So it comes down to your choice and your health. But yes, remember, everything in moderation, everything in balance. And I also hope that this video helped you understand how to read the label of your diet products that you use and your diet supplements, and understand what's actually in them and what they're actually doing to your body. Okay, so don't be fooled by very smooth marketing. You've got to understand what's in your products that you're using. And just, this might be an opportunity to really enjoy a wider variety of foods safely, consciously, and more relaxed and calmly, because it's not going to be negatively affecting your body. And yes, please watch the videos that I recommended by Dr. Michael Greger. He is scientific based, he is a doctor, he shows you all the stats, where they come from. So whatever you watch, it's got substance to it, it's got facts, it's got proof to it. So, and he's got a lot of other topics that he discussed, which are very interesting regarding nutrition. Okay, everyone, thanks for the chat. Until the next time.